In the dead of night over the East China Sea, a silent but deadly maneuver unfolds as China's President Xi Jinping deploys 6 Shang-class Type 093 submarines. These submarines, each stretching over 360 feet and armed with cruise missiles, converge on a singular formidable target, the United States' largest military base in Japan, located in Okinawa. The strategic significance of the Okinawa naval base cannot be overstated. Home to approximately 30,000 active troops, this base is not only the largest U.S. military installation in Japan, but also a critical point of defense and response in the Asia-Pacific region. Aware of its pivotal role, Xi Jinping orchestrates a preemptive strike, aiming to incapacitate the U.S. military presence significantly. As the submarines position themselves, they launch a barrage of YJ-18 supersonic cruise missiles, while a fleet of Xi'an H-6, Nanchang Q-5 and Tupolev Tu-16 bombers prepare to extend the assault to other American bases scattered across the Japanese islands. Day 2. The NATO Clause. Reeling from the unexpected aggression, U.S. President Joe Biden faces a pivotal decision. Intelligence had hinted at Chinese military amassment, but the scale and focus of the attack catch the U.S. off guard. In a strategic countermove, President Biden leverages Article 5 of the NATO treaty, invoking a collective defense mechanism that compels NATO members to respond to the attack as an assault against all. The ensuing days see rapid military mobilizations and strategic alignments. China's anticipated isolation proves unfounded as NATO unifies in support of the United States. The conflict escalates as NATO forces, leveraging bases in Australia and other strategic locations, prepare for a counteroffensive. Meanwhile, China aims to extend its reach to American bases in South Korea, further intensifying the global standoff. A naval war and the battle for dominance. The conflict transforms into a high-stakes naval war. The South and East China Seas become the primary theaters of war, with NATO deploying significant naval resources to counter the Chinese fleet. Australia emerges as a crucial ally, serving as a staging ground for NATO's operations in the Pacific. The blockade and China's dilemma. NATO's strategy evolves from direct confrontation to economic warfare. A naval blockade aimed at disrupting China's maritime trade threatens to cripple the Chinese economy, heavily reliant on seaborne oil and exports. As sanctions from NATO countries begin to bite, the economic strain mounts, forcing Xi Jinping to contemplate extreme measures, including potential nuclear retaliation. The nuclear brinkmanship. Faced with escalating economic and military pressure, Xi Jinping considers deploying China's intercontinental ballistic missiles, capable of reaching as far as the United States and Europe. This drastic step risks a nuclear response from NATO's nuclear-armed members, which could escalate into mutual destruction. Diplomatic endgame. The crisis reaches a climax in a high-stakes video conference involving global leaders. Xi proposes a ceasefire and an extended truce without conceding defeat, subtly threatening nuclear action. The tense negotiations lead to a complex truce, requiring China to assist in rebuilding efforts in Japan, South Korea, and Australia, and agree to increased oversight of its nuclear arsenal. Conclusion: a fragile peace. The hypothetical scenario concludes with a fragile peace brokered under the shadow of nuclear threats and economic sanctions. The world is left pondering the durability of this peace and the future of international relations in a landscape dramatically altered by the conflict.